If you've just ordered a Tesla, congratulations. What you'll quickly find out is no news is good news. At least that's what Tesla tells you. However, if you're like most people, you're gonna end up on YouTube trolling through hundreds of videos to find all the information. I know, because this was exactly me just a few months ago. The other week, we took delivery of our brand new Tesla Model Y, and it is an incredible car, something that is definitely worth purchasing and pursuing. However, the months leading up to it were painstakingly hard. We were constantly looking at all sorts of different information, trying to figure out what was going on. So that's why I decided to make this video today, what to expect when you're expecting. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll share with you exactly how I managed to track my Tesla as it was being shipped into the country 100% for free. This gave me a very good indication of how it was progressing, what the delivery updates were, and where my car was. But let's dive in. You've just pressed that order button, you've paid your $350 deposit or whatever it may be for your vehicle, and you've gotten the little dancing hedgehog. It's probably one of the weirdest car buying experiences you've ever had in your life. What you're gonna notice is you're automatically gonna be asked to start creating your Tesla account. This Tesla account is going to be the be all end all throughout this whole experience. This is where you're gonna be checking for updates, and this is where you're gonna get most of your information from. One thing that you wanna pay close attention to is your RN number. This is your order number for the vehicle, and it will be your primary reference if you ever need to ring Tesla and actually ask for some information. Shortly after your purchase, you're going to get a text message from Tesla. It's going to congratulate and welcome you to the Tesla family. This text message is going to keep coming throughout the entire process as more and more updates happen about your vehicle. So you don't actually need to keep checking your Tesla account, because you're either going to get a text message or an email or both with an update of what's going on. They will then redirect you to this Tesla account, so make sure you set up your account, go through all the details, fill in the background information, and make sure your Tesla account is 100% set up, ready to go. If you're like me, and in most cases, you're gonna order your Tesla and nothing's gonna happen for a little while. For example, we ordered the Tesla Model Y day one in Australia. We ordered it in the afternoon, so we were unfortunately pushed back to the second shipment. That means we waited 5 months for our vehicle. I know this isn't a very long time, especially some people waiting years. However, you are most likely going to be waiting a little while. It isn't going to be an instant delivery. The time period between notifications is most likely going to be quite long. But what you can do is actually try and figure out your vehicle VIN number well and truly before you have any paperwork. So there is a free VIN application that you can download and install into Google Chrome. It's simply called Tesla VIN Finder. I'll link it down below to make it easy for you guys. Absolutely no affiliation. I just used it to try and figure out what my VIN was extremely early. If you don't want to download and install the VIN Finder, you can search through the source code of the actual account page to figure out if your VIN is available or not. This is just a bit more of a tedious task. About 2 months before we took delivery of our brand new Model Y, we got a text message from Tesla saying your documentation for registration is now ready. What you have to do is jump online onto your account, fill out this paperwork, and then email it through to Tesla. They don't tell you about this, nobody tells you where to send it. You actually have to do a little bit of research to figure out where it needs to go. So out of pure excitement, I managed to fill out all this paperwork immediately, send it back to Tesla, and again, no news is supposedly good news. Unfortunately for me, I ended up having to resend this email about 3 or 4 times, and even still, there was a mad rush the day before we took our delivery to actually get this paperwork finished. So I do strongly recommend that whenever you send these paperwork across to Tesla, give them a quick call or a quick follow-up email just to make sure that they have received this documentation. I know they don't want you to contact them, I know they want to be left alone, but unfortunately in my situation, it was almost delayed delivery just because they had so many emails come through and they completely missed mine. If you've already downloaded the Tesla app, when you actually purchased your vehicle, you're gonna see the estimated delivery date, or the EDD, change at this point in time as well. For me personally, it jumped to a 2-week window at the very start of November. Some people have told me that their EDDs haven't actually changed until the vehicle has arrived in the country. So sometimes your very large window of 3 months will drop down to 2 weeks quite early. Other times you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Don't get too excited though, that first 2-week estimated delivery date is just basically a lie. Most of the time, you're not gonna get it in that first 2-week block. That 2 weeks is gonna continuously jump around. So don't plan things around that 2-week delivery time. actually wait until you have something locked in before you start finalizing bits and pieces. Now, about 6 weeks before we took delivery, we got another text message from Tesla saying your final invoice is ready. We mistakenly actually took this as a great sign that our Model Y was in the country. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, but we did end up paying the invoice off at that point in time. What you need to know is you do not have to pay for this Model Y or any of the Teslas until 48 hours before delivery. Usually I'd recommend 3 to 4 days before that, just so you can make sure all the bank transfers go through properly, especially if you're going through finance. If you do want to pay in installments and pay this vehicle off whilst you're waiting, you can actually contribute to this bank account that they provide you with and slowly start paying off in installments once the final invoice is activated. You will just get a numerous amount of emails and text messages afterwards saying your final balance has been updated. That means that they've received your money and you can just keep topping it off as you go along. They will keep track of it, so it is okay if you do wish to actually pay off installments and not just do one big lump sum. If you didn't install that VIN finder back in the day, then you can also find your VIN right now on this final invoice. This VIN is going to allow you to figure out where your vehicle is, how it's tracking, and where it's being shipped to. About 7 days after you receive your final invoice is available message, you're going to get another one from Tesla. Now, Tesla's going to give you an update saying that your Model Y has been assigned to your order. This is again great news. It means that delivery date is inching closer. Now at this point in time, once you have your VIN number and once you have your vehicle assigned to you, you can actually go ahead and start tracking it. There are 2 ways to do this. You can do this 100% free, or you can actually go through a paid service. I think the paid service is probably very good and probably worth the money, considering how much time I dedicated to trying to track down my vehicle. So if you want to pay the money, I believe the account is Veta Prime. You can find it through Google. It's quite easy to find and utilize their service. Instead, what I managed to figure out is that my vehicle was on a Ro-Ro ship. All Teslas go on Ro-Ro ships, and through these Ro-Ro ships, you can then determine which carrier it is and where they're actually being shipped from. In Australia, there are only 2 Ro-Ro carriers that come in. At the moment, it's actually only one taking up predominantly most of the deliveries. That company is Mole-Ace, M-O-L-A-C-E. Once you have your VIN number, you can jump onto the Mole-Ace website, go to the search function, change over to a VIN number, paste in your actual VIN number, and it will tell you which vessel your car is on. Once you've figured out what vessel it's on, then you can simply type in that vessel name into Google directly and jump onto Vessel Finder. In my instance, for example, it was on a ship called Victorious Ace. That means I went on Google, typed in Victorious Ace, and it quickly told me exactly where that ship was. I knew when it was going to be arriving at the port. I knew when it was going to be departing its next destination. Now, this information could be either good or bad for you because you could be like me and way too invested. As soon as I knew that boat was coming in, I was checking the vessel finder all the time. I was tracking it as it was moving through the ocean, and I was waiting for it to hit the port. Once it hit the Fremantle port, I jumped on the harbor cams. I was watching that vehicle come in and unload. And then I was still tracking as those Teslas were being trucked out to the delivery center. So for me, it was bad because I was so emotionally invested into this situation that I thought the delivery was coming very soon. Unfortunately, what happened, like most people say, is my estimated delivery date actually changed as all of these vehicles were shipped off the port. Because our delivery center has a very small maximum capacity, it meant they were delivering them in batches. And unfortunately, my car was somewhere at the end of the batch. So my delivery date got pushed from the start of November to the end of November. Even though the vehicle was pushed back, I knew that it was now in the country and classified as a registered vehicle. In Australia, you're able to jump onto a website called the Register of Approved Vehicles Search, or RAVS for short. You can type in your VIN number and it will automatically tell you that this vehicle has or hasn't been registered in Australia. Usually, once they come off the port and they've been cleared through customs, then they also get entered into RAVS. This RAVS is one of the most final crucial steps because that means your estimated delivery date is coming very, very soon. For me personally, once those delivery dates started jumping around, it only took 1 business day before I got another text message from Tesla saying your Tesla Model Y is now ready for scheduled delivery. The scheduled delivery text message was great. All you had to do was literally jump on your phone, press the link sent to you in the text message, and then pick a day that was convenient for you. Unfortunately for us here in Western Australia, the delivery center is only open throughout the week, and the delivery time slots weren't very good. For instance, we picked it up on a Friday at 9:30 in the morning. That was the only time slot available that week. You cannot pick it up over the weekend, you can only pick it up at these specified times. So if your workplace or your lifestyle isn't flexible, you might actually have to think around how you can go and pick up this vehicle. Like I mentioned previously, there was a mad rush to get our paperwork and documentation sorted the day before delivery actually occurred. However, the day before delivery for us and in our situation, we got a Tesla Express delivery confirmation. Now, I would believe that you would get this text message significantly sooner if they'd sorted out your paperwork when they were supposed to, but for us, it literally was the day before. Nonetheless, this was a good text message to receive because it means your vehicle is ready for delivery, it's scheduled and waiting for you. Now, delivery day has come and it is one of the most exciting days. It is unlike any other luxury car experience. Now, when you usually buy a luxury car, you walk into the dealership, there's all sorts of shows, there's some champagne, there's probably flowers, and they peel off the magical rug over the car. With Tesla, however, you walk into an old warehouse, you approach a bench full of Tesla staff, you show them your app and you show them your driver's license. You have to accept delivery before you even see the car. They walk you to your vehicle and walk away. So they are truly expecting you to know everything about this vehicle before you even take delivery. They want you to know how to use the app. They want you to know how to use the screen. They're not really too keen on showing you unless they genuinely have to. So make sure you do your research and keep looking at all these Tesla videos. They are incredibly helpful and there are some great content creators on YouTube to be able to explain all of this. Our vehicle in Australia obviously came from the Shanghai factory and it was 99.99% perfect. There was genuinely no faults that we could see with it on the day. There was no panel gaps, there was no scratches, it was immaculate. There was a little bit of dust here and there, but that's not really something you can be too upset about. And we didn't really have to go through that full checklist because once you go through that checklist, I feel like it removes the enjoyment and excitement about your delivery experience. You have to go through meticulously, tick off all these items and figure out if anything is wrong with your brand new purchase. Thankfully, the production is getting significantly better and the Shanghai factory is producing vehicles that are nearly flawless. Like I said, 99.99, there still was a 0.1% error in our vehicle. Unfortunately, the seat belts for some reason on the rear white seats left small little scuff marks. We can't get them out, we've emailed Tesla, so we'll see what happens with that situation. But unfortunately, I think there's some sort of grease or oil on those seat belts, and as they rest and sit on those white seats, they eventually leave marks. Be prepared that your Model Y will most likely not come with 100% fully charged. Ours came with 93% charged, which was still really, really good. Once we charged it to 100%, it indicated to us that we could drive 435 kilometers on a single charge. Now, we live about 500 kilometers away from this delivery center, so we put that to the test literally on the first day. Unfortunately, you're nowhere near that 400 kilometer range. Driving at 110 kilometers an hour, basically in pristine, perfect conditions, it only managed to hit about 300 kilometers before it was indicating it needs to stop at a supercharger. So luckily for us, there is one supercharger between us, and that manages to make the distance quite easily. It supercharges super quick. In about 20 minutes, we went from 30% to 100% to make it back to our destination. So overall, it was a good experience. But that is definitely one of the most disappointing elements of the entire order process, is the fact that the range is not as good as promised. Now, I understand that this was going to occur, but I just genuinely didn't think it was going to be that much of a difference compared to its estimated range to its actual range. Anyway, that's all for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video gave you clarity about your Tesla Model Y experience and what you can expect when you're expecting. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep creating these Tesla videos, so feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to see more of this content, potentially in some shorts, long form, I'm not entirely sure, but let me know either way. If you enjoyed the content nonetheless, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and like always, you will see me here next Monday.